Okay, in this video I'm going to show you how you can make your assets, or in other words your images, to be displayed into AR Maker. So at this point in the previous video I showed you how you can prepare the slides for augmented reality. Now we actually have to create the things that go on those slides and get displayed in augmented reality. So for this assignment you can have one image that you take off of the internet. Everything else you need to create on your own. So that image that you can take off the internet is going to be the map of the place that you are talking about, or the map of the place that you are visiting. So in this case, I visited England. So I'm going to take that map and put it here, and you might notice that you can kind of resize it, and there's portions of this map that are off of the square, off of the slide. That's fine. Those are just going to be cut off and not displayed. In this case, I don't really need it. So now we have our map, and that's going to kind of lay flat on a surface when we put that into augmented reality. So in my next slides, what I need to do is I need to create the landmarks that I'm then going to place on this map. So I already have another slide created, but I can always create new slides by choosing the blank one. And of course, as we went over in the first video, just make sure if you do that you set the background to no fill. Alright, so now I'm going to create my first image. Two ways that I can do this. So number one, and this is what I'm going to spend the most time showing, is how we can use shapes and the shapes menu to create our landmarks. So we don't want to just steal one of the shapes in here and pass it off as our own. We actually want to merge the shapes together to actually build something that's our own. So in this case, I'm just going to be using some basic shapes, and I'm going to create Big Ben, that big clock tower that's in London. The other thing that you could do, if you didn't want to group shapes together to create your landmark, is that you can go in the plus sign here and then go under the photo icon or the media icon, and you can actually create your own drawing of that. And there's a pretty good video that I made on how to do tracing. If you weren't so good with drawing, you can actually trace it. But in this case, in this video, I'm going to show you how to group shapes together and make your own image. So we'll start with a square. Now you can see the square is black, and that's kind of blending into our background right now. So I'm going to make that about the color of Big Ben, which is like this brown color here. And we're going to make like a rectangle. That's going to be like the main part of the clock tower, going up like that. Okay. Next thing I'm going to show is, if we look at a picture of Big Ben, it kind of comes to a point at the top. So let's go ahead and put in a triangle. That's going to be our point. We'll make that, it's kind of like this bluish color. So again, I'll go into color here. Okay, and then I'm going to make that fit on top of our main tower here. Okay, and you can see I'm using my guidelines to center it. Okay, so right now I have my two shapes. I want to group these together so that if I resize one of these shapes, both kind of move together. So to group, you need, and you can't see what I'm doing with my hands here, but you need two pointer fingers. Okay, so a left-handed pointer and a right-handed pointer finger. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to do a long press on that blue triangle till it pops out like that. Then with my other pointer finger, I'm just going to tap and let go of the main part of Big Ben here. When I let go of both, I get this menu, and one of the options that we have is to group. So I'm going to select that, and now these two are one thing. So if I resize one, it'll resize the other, just like that. Okay, so not quite done yet. So we need like a square in this area, and then kind of the part of the clock here. So let's grab a square from our menu, and we're going to make that the same color as the rest of the tower here. Yeah, if you look at pictures, kind of goes like that. And then same way, I'm going to use 2 fingers, do a long press on that square, long press on the other shape, let go, choose group, okay? And then kind of my last thing here, I'm going to need a circle, and that's actually going to be the clock. And we'll center that in the middle of the square. That is white, so let's make that white. Okay, and then from here, you know, I basically have, oh, don't forget, we'll group it with the rest of the shape. You know, I basically have an outline of Big Ben. We can look at that and kind of know what it is. And then from here, it's up to me, whatever, you know, little details that I want to add to this, I can add. So I could add, here I'm going to get out my drawing tools. And maybe I can add an hour hand. I'm just going to draw them in. I'm sorry, that would be my minute hand. And then I'll draw my hour hand. If I wanted to, I can have tick marks showing this if I wanted to. And then of course any drawing I could do. Now I did that kind of quick, so that was a little sloppy. So, you know, I could probably want to get into my eraser and other pens and straighten that out. But you get the point. And then from here, you know, it's just using, you can add some more shapes to it, add some drawings, and just work it out and add whatever details that you want. Okay, the last thing that we need to do, once you create all of your assets, so let's just say I just want 2 here. Okay, my map and Big Ben. The last thing that we need to do is export this as PNG files. Okay, and it's very important that we do PNG files because that way we can get those transparent backgrounds that can be seen in AR Maker. All right, so for that, we're going to do the 3 dots up here in the top right. We're going to choose Export, and we're going to choose Images. Okay. Our slide range, we want to make sure that's all our slides, because in this case we want both assets. And then we want to make sure that PNG is selected. In this case, that was already selected, which is good. And the last thing here, we want to make sure that transparent backgrounds, we want to make sure that is turned on so we actually get those transparent backgrounds that can be seen in AR Maker. Once we've ensured all that, I can press Export. And I'm going to go ahead and save those 2 images. And those are in my camera roll right now. And once they're in the camera roll, I'm ready to move on to the next phase here, which is launching the AR Maker app and then bringing those 2 assets in to be displayed in augmented reality.